absolutely correct. ArT and SortOf here loaded up onto Oxide LE. And Grant, I think, again, just like last game, this one has a lot of potential. These two players very similar, but the elephant in the room, of course, is that our red player is going to have a significant disadvantage.
Yeah, and speaking of our red player in the bottom left of Oxide, representing A for X, he is the Polish Protoss player, ArT.
And his opponent up in the top right-hand side, playing for the newly reformed Archangel Gaming. He is, of course, SortOf.
He's sort of what? Sorry, that's an old joke. I can't help myself.
Nice. Classic stuff. That's good Heart of the Swarm comedy material right there.
Thank you. So,
and what's the deal with Stefano?
An aeroplane food, am I right?
Nice. Except that you said aeroplane food, which outs you as doing a terrible Seinfeld impression. Yeah, sorry, bro. Sorry.
I really
you're too British to
myself. I know. Okay, so as Creighton alluded to, ArT is currently playing from South Korea. He is out there studying at the South Korea University. I can't remember what it's called.
Seoul University.
The Seoul University, where he is studying to be a super genius and also practicing StarCraft, but he does play with around 250 ping, and because this is DreamHack EU, he does play on EU servers. We don't meet in the middle. That is his sort of agreement. He did qualify with that ping, and he is an incredible player, but in terms of micro in very intense battles, we've seen him punished a couple of times, and it's going to be difficult for him.
It's been painful, and ArT knows this. I don't think he's coming to this tournament with a whole lot of expectations of taking it out and winning the whole thing. As you said, studying in Korea, playing part-time, studying full-time. He's making the best of a bad situation here. Obviously, it'd be great if he could compete in more Korean events, and he's been doing a lot of Korean onliners. Those weeklies, the Olimo League. He's been popping up in the GSL qualifiers this year as well. Just for a lot of fun. Again, a tough position to be when you're a mid-tier EU player going into the most competitive region in the world. So I still expect good things from ArT. SortOf probably his most beatable opponent. Both these players at 0-3 in their group right now. So the best case, Grant, this is a $125 show match.
Yeah, one thing, SortOf is a strange player. I'm going to say this every season because he's very highly renowned. All the other pro players very much fear him on ladder, but I think he struggles humongously with nerves. He gets very, very anxious in these major events, and it just doesn't, unfortunately, translate as much into tournament play. Sometimes we see him sort of get over it for a little bit, but generally he has struggled to translate onto Liquipedia results and things like that. And all of us want to see that change. One thing he has managed to do is get extraordinarily handsome since DreamHack Winter. Like I saw his webcam yesterday, and I'm like, what? That's not SortOf.
Yeah, I don't know what that boy. He is drinking his water. He is going on walks. He has found some sort of face skincare routine that's working for him. I don't know what it is, but goddamn, SortOf is a fucking beast mode alpha Chad lady killer or man killer, depending on what he prefers. He is the most handsome human I have seen since Geralt.
Oh, he's a good-looking boy who just has a bit of... Okay,
did he cancel his Void Ray?
Oracle.
Canceled his Oracle, so he's got the Void Ray out on the field now. Cancel the Oracle afterwards. Is he going to go for a second Void Ray and then a Stargate?
Oh my god!
Yeah, he is. I love it when an evil plan comes together. Grant, that is some sizzling fleet bacon action that I hear in ArT space right away.
Yeah, so this is the earliest possible fleet beacon. It does mean he's had to take a whole bunch of gas. He's gone Void Ray fast to push back Overlords so that his Zerg opponent sort of cannot see the fact that he is taking his third and fourth gas so early. That one Ling in the third actually to just manage to survive and keep this information, seeing no third going down by sort of a 4:45-minute mark. He may begin to become a little bit concerned, but we do have a roach roaring coming down from SortOf. I think he's worried about some adept follow-ups maybe because he hasn't seen anything else coming out of that Stargate. But there we go, the first carrier is already on the way, 4.5 minutes into the game, and this is squeaky bum time for our Protoss player because all he wants to do is not get caught.
This is so smart, though, from ArT. We said it before. He's playing with 250 ping. What is he going to do? Go Blink Stalker Disruptor when all of his actions are a quarter of a second behind where he thinks they are? Like, adjusting for that kind of delay is just ridiculously implausible. So going for these big, slow-moving carrier pushes is huge. And I gotta say, SortOf needs to figure this out, Grant. He has got to sack an Overlord to get into that main base and figure out what's going on. All he's seen so far is, I think, just a Void Ray and nothing else.
Yeah, he saw the third go down about a minute late. So he knows, excuse me, something is funky. He may be thinking, though, that it could be Disruptor drops, Colossus drops. It could be so many things, DTs hidden somewhere. So he has to prepare for so many options. You can see he's getting spores now. He's making a lot of roaches, going up to, oh no, just 6. Okay, that's not too bad. He's adding on some queens. So he's going up to 10 queens. I think he might even know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to suspect something suspicious is happening here, and queens are a kind of a good panacea to really whatever the Protoss is going to throw at you, right? They get transfused, they spread creep, they give you sort of a little bit of everything, which is why they're such a feared and renowned unit. But ArT is going straight across the map, and this is the absolute correct thing you do when you're going for one of these like early Fleet Beacon mana style builds, heading straight across the map. Put on the pressure and never let your foot off the gas, Grant. Maybe micro the carriers back a little bit so they don't get nailed by the queens. But as soon as you lose 1 or 2 of these carriers, the game is over. Yeah,
these carriers are going to be able to take down the queens very, very quickly. And of course, interceptors, they go down, but queens take a while to kill them. You can see right now, there only 3 or 4 interceptors have died, and the queens already reaching a very similar number. And as soon as these queens run out of energy, as soon as the transfuses all run out, then these carriers are going to tear through the queen line. There are a lot of interceptors going down. We do have a big link counterattack. That is going to be defended, and a reinforcement carrier is going to be able to deal with the rest of the links. 3rd and 4th carrier now out. Spire is going down. We have Flux Veins and a Void Ray transition coming in here from our Protoss player, and I really think this might be working.
Look, this is, again, I've said this twice now, but this is so smart from ArT. He knows that he can't win the game on his micro, mostly, I think, because of his ping, but also because SortOf's middle name is Mechanics. He's not going to mess up his micro like that. So ArT is saying, okay, there's so many ways you can win a StarCraft game, one of which is strategy and tactics. Even if my micro isn't great, I can get in, I can force you to build 1,000 Corruptors, and then build Void Rays that are strong against Corruptors, and make sure that my composition stays 1 step ahead of yours. I love the fact that he's keeping his carrier army split up. It's so difficult for queens to deal with these 2 carriers at a time, and he's going to get real pressure there, forcing a cancel on the 11 o'clock base that was just building there, sort of stuck on 3 bases for quite some time.
Yeah, and during this time, ArT has been building probes. He's now got 6 gases fully saturated. He just killed 9 workers. That number's only going to continue to grow as well. These carriers can kill from such a long distance. And the only thing dying here is interceptors, which are so bloody cheap to reproduce. They really cost very, very little. What that means now is the carrier count is still very, very high. There's a lot of Flux Vein Void Rays, +1 is on the way. I like that SortOf has gone for some infestors. He will be able to drop some fungals onto the interceptors, slow them down, and they also take that DPS, which is enough to take them out alongside some queen support. But if there's a big timing attack with +1 and a whole bunch of Protoss units, Protoss air units, I really don't know if SortOf will hold on.
And look, Grant, it's not just going to be +1 and a bunch of Protoss air units. Look at what ArT is also doing. +1 melee attacks, charge zealots, 5 more gateways going down. He's getting everything so that he can remax on this sort of very weird, low-tech zealot stalker push that we see so often. Now the Corruptors will get in here. That might even force a recall. No, it looks like the Void Rays could be back in time. And he's got some stalkers worked in as well. That's going to drive him away. With his +1 air weapons, his +1 ground weapons finishing up, ArT really is getting a really difficult composition to deal with. But I like what SortOf's doing, Grant. We saw the infestors earlier, and now we see these Viper boys coming out. He's building all the tools he needs. It's going to come down to the last fight.
Those Vipers are so far away. What's it doing up in the corner? Just like, I'm not here.
I love the artwork for the Viper, though. I never noticed their tails are all spiky. Why the fuck would it need a spiky tail?
I do a lot of this when I observe. I just like look at units.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. It is pretty cool. And it's like wings, flappy, fluttering. I like him. He's my new favorite thing. Hallucinated Phoenix coming in, just trying to get the lay of the land here, what the Zerg is doing. But just take a look at this fleet. This is, I mean, Rider the Valkyrie should be playing right now. When you see a fleet like this, it is so difficult to push back at any stage of the game, let alone less than 10 minutes into it. Your Protoss should not have 5 carriers at the 9.5-minute mark. I mean, he's had them a lot longer than that, but even still. And now all of the Void Rays are done, and Flux Veins is done, +1 air weapons is done. There's a Prism coming in because there's going to be a lot of Zealots on the ground as well. Meaning that even if the air fight is lost, the Zealots are going to be on top of the Queens. They're going to destroy a whole bunch of drones. Oh my god, there's so many queens. There's 16.
I do like what SortOf is doing, though,
beautiful.
Grant, as well. I mean, check this out. He's built, sure, he's built corruptors, right? But look at the unit counting station, Grant. There's only about 13 corruptors in the field, which is not that many. A lesser Zerg player would panic and build 400 corruptors.
Yeah.
And then once the air army's dead, the Protoss is like, lol, and just marches in 10,000 charged zealots, and you're maxed out on corruptors, nothing you can do. SortOf is being very cautious right now, and I do like that. He's going to take a nice engagement here, force these zealots away, but I think ArT still has a really nice position in this fight.
In the space. I mean, this base going down is another very, very important base here for our Zerg player.
Wow.
The Queens are doing a good job hitting these fungal interceptors, but now this opens up a bigger concave here for our Protoss player. We even see that ability, which is name I can't even remember because we see it so little.
Shroud.
Microbial Shroud, of course it is. Thank you, Creighton. The Prism will finally go down here, but look, it gets the force field off. There's a lot of interceptors left over. The Void Rays are getting a little low, though. I think it is time for ArT probably to back off. There's the recall. He's going to do just that. Meanwhile, he has a Zealot up at the top side. That's found a load of workers. 25 SC drones just died.
You know how many carriers have died this game, Grant?
None?
None. Not a single
Void
carrier has
Ray.
gone down this entire game, and only one Void Ray. Yes, SortOf took a lot of ground damage there. Pardon me, ArT took a lot of ground damage there, but the overall Golden Armada of his army is still very solid. He's mixing in Storm. He's mixing in a Robo. He's mixing in a Robo Bay, Grant. He's got a little of everything, and SortOf going for Burrowed. God, this game is going to get super, super weird.
Yeah, I think Burrowed Infestors is probably the play he's thinking of at this point. He knows he needs to get underneath these carriers, get them so they cannot retreat, they cannot micro with that very exceptionally long Tempest, almost like range. And behind this, ArT's done a good job of expanding. And you've been so correct with your analysis in this game, Creighton, in that ArT has been playing a composition that really just doesn't need micro.
Yeah, it doesn't, and that's such a smart play from ArT there. He's going to be in a really, really good spot, Grant. I'm so jazzed to see this final fight coming down, whenever it happens, because both players sort of have all the tools in their toolboxes that they possibly need, right? Both of them have decent economies at 74 workers each. They both got a good mineral bank. Will start banking up gas once they max out. This is turning into a classic late game PV set, and I think that's exactly what ArT wanted when he started this game.
Yeah, I think you either wanted to kill him early or just go into this fleet, right? Those were his two options. ArT certainly found the damage. Like, SortOf has never, I don't believe, ever broken 74 workers. This is his highest. And as a Zerg player at this point, you want to be high 80s, early 90s. And with ArT matching him workers, economy's very even. The Protoss player likes that. Especially when he's playing this composition. Big fungal on all the Void Rays.
Nice fungal here with the combination parasitic bomb. If he can get it off, there's a second. Nice. I love the fungal. It's so huge on carriers.
Yeah,
and with the parasitic bomb, that's going to look a little bit better here. He uses the double storms in the south flank. With Archon still alive, Grant. Yeah, the ground army is tearing through right now. Sort of trying to remax here on Ultra Ling, but that's going to be very difficult against those Archons. More storms, more interceptors. This is looking great.
Feedback's doing a lot of damage to the Queens as well. We see the carriers coming in. ArT is starting to lose a lot of support here. He's completely surrounded in the air, but on the ground, it seems like he is going to dominate. The reinforcements of the Zerg might be enough. That was a very, very expensive fight for both, and that's the ping difference right there. You can't micro your disruptors. We're seeing a lot of disruptors go down. I can't wait to look at the battle report following this one, Creighton. Let's take a look now.
That's ugly. Almost every slot for both players. Dead even trade. But I gotta say, ArT coming out, I think, slightly ahead. Pardon me, ArT coming out behind there. I think SortOf is still in a really good spot. He's gonna be able to remax, but he has no bank left. Oh man, this is tough to call, Grant. I like that ArT's doing some multi-pronged harass though. Look at this. He's up at the 11 o'clock base, and he's at the inside 3 o'clock base as well, while SortOf is getting some pressure on the main base of ArT right now.
Yeah, so these corruptors can, of course, not do any... The only economic damage they can do, so to speak, is they can kill the Nexuses themselves. They cannot kill any workers, so the workers can transfer. Meanwhile, ArT is killing a lot of workers. He's still sitting at 74. SortOf is down to just 61 and not reproducing. This base is completely under siege right now. You can see there are zealots in the mineral lines already. They've done the damage, even if the base doesn't die. We have the corruptors just sharking around, looking to find bases. Shield batteries, cannons. If they get blunt under here, this could be a real problem. These, oh my god, I can't believe he didn't go for them. He has so many Archons.
Yeah, we talked about this a little earlier. I was like, oh, SortOf didn't build too many corruptors. That's great, because of course what's going to happen? He's going to take out the entire air army, and there's going to be a ground army left. And not that I'm the greatest caster in the world of StarCraft, Grant, but damn if I don't know what I'm talking about every now and again. Dark Shrine working on those blink DTs, which can be super duper annoying. And again, ArT keeping the pressure on the 12 o'clock base now under siege, as is the 3 o'clock.
Yeah, and again, there is a disruptor in this army. It does offer that constant threat of a big explosion. This base will finally go down. The base at the 3 o'clock also going down. A couple of ultras popping up to clean up, but that's a big loss here. We can see that our Protoss player has also lost his base over at 9 o'clock. I can't read a clock apparently. And the Corruptors are standing strong, but they really have no value right now, right? Like, what are they offering except killing these Nexuses? I guess that is value, but it's not in a straight up fighting force. You can see sort of has more army supply, but so much of it is not in a fighting force. It is in these there are basically medevacs that can't heal
or load units.
Yeah.
Or do anything medevacs can do. Decent angle here from SortOf, though. His ultra's kind of derping around in the background, but the corrosive bios raining down to keep ArT out of position as long as possible. This is so good, Grant, from ArT, and I like what he's doing. Again, the army supply looks like it's sort of in SortOf's favor, but look at the army value tab with the A button, Grant. It's dead even right now.
Close.
And ArT, I think, has a much more robust army. We've said it 1,000 times here in DreamHack Summer so far, Grant, but Protoss players are getting so good at using those immortals, keeping them alive for a long time, and just shelling away at any building or any ultralist on the ground.
Yeah, I think right now the hope for our Zerg player even is just what he started building, Broodlords. There's not a big answer to them right now. The Corruptors have finally regained their value with the Great Aspire finishing. 5 is an okay number. He certainly wants to be getting up to 7 or 8, I imagine, so that is enough to break through storms and things like that. We do have a Ultralisk run by, which is just not something you see every day over in the southeast of the map, and ArT continuing to move around, but I am concerned. He's got some Void Rays, which are going to be useful. They do, with upgrades, kill the Broodlords pretty quick, especially when there's not too many Corruptors. He does have Blink as well, so maybe ArT has the pushing power to get through to this, but he's sitting back a lot now. The good news for ArT is he is banking. SortOf has 39 workers. He has no money. He's making his final last stand army, and certainly a really good game.
Yeah, really good game. Very difficult. Ooh, Grant, you maybe alt-tab there for a minute, the camera.
Oh, no, I didn't alt-tab. I just dragged the camera to the bottom.
You monster. That's what it is. No problem. I love the Infestors coming out from SortOf. I think a lot of Zerg players ignore Infestors in the late game. They can be very useful, but unfortunately he is... good corrosive biles there. Luckily, Archons are chonky boys and still alive. He does not have the pathogen glands upgrade for those Infestors, which is a bit unfortunate, as the Infestors are not going to have energy when they pop out, and that means that ArT's going to be able to jump on top of this army, even if the Infestors are here, and be able to immediately do damage, where it's going to take a while for SortOf to spin up his entire army. Broodlord's out now, though, and they're doing a good job buying time.
Yeah, the Broodlords, as I said, they're going to change this game. They're going to slow the pace down quite a bit, unless ArT decides to just go all in at this point, which is a strange thing to say. The Void Rays coming in now. They're actually going to get one Broodlord and a Viper, as well as a couple of Corruptors. This was pretty good trades here. It's annoying to lose Void Rays at this point because he is reproducing them, but they didn't trade badly. They did take some high-value units, and I said it a moment ago. I'll say it again. SortOf does not have any money. He is broke. He's as broke as me. Wow. I know.
Wait, Grant, how much gas do you have in your Lloyd's account?
I have a Halifax account, and not a lot.
You have a Halifax account with not very much Vespene gas in it?
Yeah, not a lot.
That's HMRC is going to be real pissed at you for not reinvesting. Storms on the north side there, and of course that base is going to go down, but that's going to open up the floodgates a little bit, and the Broodlings are going to have a lot better surface area on this army. But Grant, the immortal count, I cannot harp on this enough, is insane in the strong in the background here. 6 immortals able to take out every building in a flash. Now the ground army is gone mostly for ArT right now, but he's got the storms, he's got the Void Rays, and the Broodlords are all going to go down. This is looking better and better for ArT.
Looks pretty good. It seems like ArT takes map 1.
There was so much going on, Grant. That's one of those games that's difficult to commentate just because your brain has 35 thoughts and you got to like choose the one that you want to talk about.
Great game,
because there is so much happening. What a game. And I think, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, I think that's the game ArT wanted to play. As you said, he either wanted to win right away, like surprise him with the carriers and get a ton of damage done, which he couldn't quite do, or win sort of that chess match where you're like, okay, I'm going to build carriers that's going to force him into Corruptors. I'm going to build Void Rays to either deal with the Corruptors, or I'm going to sack the Void Rays. He'll build more Corruptors, then I'll transition to a ground army and take him out one by one. We say this every time, but there are a lot of ways to win at StarCraft, Grant. And ArT is finding the ways he can win despite this massive ping disadvantage.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to keep harping on about this because it is important. ArT is
It's huge.
playing from Korea. He is playing with a quarter of a second minimum delay. So playing builds that don't require quite as much micro. ArT 1.
Oh, you got it.
I always like to type it fully. Okay. But
he's playing with that delay, Grant, which like imagine I'm gonna equate this to football, but imagine watching like who's a popular footballer right now, Grant? Who's Manchester United's star football player?
Edison Cavani. No, Bruno Fernandes, go on.
Bruno Fernandes. Imagine if there was a Manchester United game with Bruno Fernandes where Bruno Fernandes was wearing a leg cast.
Yeah.
And still playing the game. And you think the commentators wouldn't be like, this is incredible from Bruno Fernandes. Except they'd be in British. This is incredible from Bruno Fernandes. Wearing a leg cast and still winning a Premier League game.
Premier League.
How was that? Was that? Oh, sorry. Whatever. Winning a Championship League game.
Championship League. Oh, you're so American, Creighton.
Absolutely top-notch play by Bruno Fernandes.
Jesus, is Gary Neville here?
That's not bad, right? That's pretty impressive.
Our first player on the bottom left, representing Alpha X. He is the Red Protoss player from Poland, playing from South Korea. It is ArT. Jesus.
And his opponent up in the top right-hand side, a new contender for the handsomest player in StarCraft, and always a perennial contender here in the DreamHack events. Longtime veteran of the scene, and the newest member of the newly reformed Archangel Gaming. It is Rickard Mechanics Bergman, our blue Zerg, our blue Zerg player, representing Sweden. He is a fabulous player, Grant, and I'm so excited. It's sort of.
Got with my own tricks.
Hoisted by your own petard.
I know. Now,
which I've learned is not a real phrase in French.
It's not a real phrase in English.
Yes, it is. So that's like a real phrase.
Captain Picard.
No, petard, Grant.
Well, that's an offensive word, so we can't say that.
No, it's not. It's so petardiers were a French, like basically guys who would carry gunpowder on their backs and like run up to a wall and dump like a barrel of gunpowder and then try and light it and run away. So obviously they get hit with flaming arrows all the time and would get exploded. So if you say that someone is hoisted by their own petard, it means the plan that they've been doing, the petard they have on their back, has exploded in their face. Basically, they plan to do something and their own plans blew up against them. But I tried to use that phrase on Twitter with, I think it was Denver. I think Denver had tried to do like a cute carrier rush or something, and then his opponent countered it completely.
Did a carrier rush? But okay.
Sorry, I don't know. Denver did some proxy hatch or something, but it didn't work. And I was like, oh, this move from Denver, hoisted by his own petard. And Denver's like, what? That's not a thing. And I was like, what? It's not a thing. It's like another one of those Americanisms or English phrases that we have that sound like because petard is the French word. So I assumed it was a phrase in French, and then he was like, no, that's not a phrase in French.
See, this is why I don't try to be intelligent, because then people don't question me when I say dumb shit, which is kind of my job, actually, now that I think of it. Okay, so let's talk about Jagannatha, because actually, Creighton, pretty good map for going very quick carriers. It's very, very long. It's very hard to get in. If you have something at the top, you can deny scouting very easy. A Void Ray doesn't struggle too much to get between the main and the natural to find overlords. Stargate is going down. I don't know if we're going to see an identical build, but also, like...
Grant?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? It worked super well last game. ArT seemed to be in pretty decent control of the map for most of the game. I don't see why he wouldn't try it again. The Link probably won't scout it, though. Stalker should be fine. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. And the Stargate. Yep.
Yeah.
Spotted.
It was? Oh, it was?
Yep.
You are correct,
yep.
Yeah.
Right so there Stargate... in the back, so...
Okay. Yeah. I imagine if he's doing this, he's going to probably mix it up a little bit. I do think ArT is unlikely to do the same build twice, because we said this a few times over the course of the last few days. It's very easy for a player post-game to identify what they did wrong during the last game. It's not often, usually if you beat someone with something unusual, they go, okay, I did this wrong, I know how to fix it for the next game. And it's too late in that game, and they have to stick along with their original plan, but they learn from it. Oh my god, okay. Fuck it, I'm completely wrong. He's doing it.
Looks like it's cowabunga, boys.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's another fleet beacon, Grant. This is phenomenal. I love it. Look, ArT has played 3 series now. He has lost all 3 series, and you and I have had the pleasure of covering at least one of those series, if not 2 of them, I think.
2.
Yeah, and both series, he's tried to play slightly more traditional games. We saw him go Blink Stalker Disruptor in a game. We've seen him with like a glaive Adept pressure. It's just not quite working the way he would hope. And I think he's saying, you know what, I'm trying to salvage this run. Even if I don't make it out of my group, every match or every series I win, rather, is $125. So I may as well do something that I think can win, even if my games go a bit longer. And carrier number 1 starts right up, sort of. Man, it's going to be very Anne Frank here. He is not going to see this coming.
Did you just say that? Of all the things I didn't expect to come out of your mouth right then, I don't know, like I generally know your lexicon at this point. I kind of know, you know, some of the Creighton things to say, but he's going to be very Anne Frank was definitely not what I expected, Dan. That's really caught me off guard.
Sorry, buddy. It's my last day before vacation. I got to slip in as much fun as I possibly can.
Oh, I'm crying.
2 carriers on the way now, Grant. And so this is going to be very similar to what we saw last game so far. I expect, again, we're going to see a Void Ray transition and then more carriers added in after that, just because, again, it forces SortOf to kind of respond. If you see the carriers, you've got to start building Corruptors because there's really no other response, Grant. And then once the Void Rays come out, you can take advantage of those Corruptors, either with more Void Rays or with getting rid of the Void Rays and then transitioning to a ground army. So either way, ArT's going to be in good shape. Yeah. He
still hasn't scouted this either. He saw just that one Stargate early. He's seen one Oracle. He has now gone into the main and seen absolutely nothing. He sees a Forge go down, but I imagine at this point, he probably has at least an idea of what is going on. Yeah, he does. That's a very fast infestation pit. He knows, and the first couple of carriers already making their way across. More queens coming out here from SortOf. He's going to try and hold in a similar way with an earlier infestation pit. I don't hate, but I do think he needs to shut down this early push quick.
Yeah, he definitely does. Got to do something about it. He's got the earlier Spire, got the earlier infestation pit, as you said. Better and better for SortOf this game. Hopefully, he's got a chance of defending it. I love the transfuses on the Spore Crawlers. The Queen staying back, trying to get interceptors as best they can. But, man, there's just not quite... It seems crazy, but there's not quite enough Queens, Grant, to kill all of these interceptors as quickly as you'd like.
Yeah, and I do think actually that the Interceptors build quicker than the Queens will all regain energy. It's probably relatively similar. I'd like to do the math on that to figure out which one is more efficient, whether going for the Interceptors or sending the Queens underneath and trying to go for the carriers and transfusing Queens was better. I'm not sad. Spire coming, we have more and more spores coming as well, and already that ground transition coming in from our Protoss player. He, at the moment, is sitting on 4 carriers, and he has stopped producing there instead of going up to 5 or 6 as he did in game 1. So some small variations here in the build from our Protoss player, but he's now going to start finding some damage on these workers. Creighton 2 go down, force a big pull. 3rd one will follow. Yeah, this isn't bad for ArT once again. SortOf, though, he does have a healthier worker count by like a fair amount to what he had in map 1.
Yeah, definitely. Similar builds, little slight variations here. I like that he's focus fired down Spore Crawlers and it's split up the Queens as well. So you see the Queen count is just super, super low, Grant. Yeah. And they're going to take it down very, very quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4 Queens go down, and now it's just a Spore Crawler defense. The 4th base is gone, and this freaking hatchery going to get disappeared very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like maybe with the mass migration of the Queens here and all the transfuses, that they will maybe be able to save the base, but this is just so much energy, and there's 8 gates worth of Zealots that will be coming out very soon. 8 more gates, 9 more gates, putting us up to a total of 12, so there's going to be a massive, massive swell of ground units very soon, and honestly, recall coming in, unnecessary maybe.
The partial recall, I think it's cute, though. I think it's cute. He keeps a bit of pressure on because obviously SortOf saw the partial recall going, so he can try and chase down those extra carriers if he wants, but he saves at least half of his carriers, and the other carriers go back in case there's a run by or something. Corruptor count still increasing from SortOf here, Grant. Man, ArT is playing this, I want to say masterfully right now. As long as he gets this 4th base in pretty good time and defends it, he's going to be able to set himself up for a really, really nice play.
Corruptor count getting pretty high once again, but this time, once again, the emphasis is on the ground army as a follow-up to this. Archon's now going to show. That's a big read here for SortOf. He probably realizes he needs to get more roaches out. He does have adrenal glands already starting up, which is a big positive. He's going to have +0 lings with adrenal glands. That's hilarious. this Forso is scary. There are a good amount here. I believe there is a Prism backing this up, or soon to be backing this up. Yep, here he is. I see him now. Hello. ArT's army is now going to start moving across, and although he's down in army supply, it is, in terms of army value, a more expensive army, considerably in gas here, and that value only going to grow.
I think plus 0 lings with adrenal glands are the Count Dooku of Zerglings, where they just have all the attack but no like actual skill. It's crazy. Archons up front gonna bust through those force fields, but who needs force fields, man? You've got Archons in the front. Archons are basically their own force field. The War Prism is gonna be shut down early, but a beautiful stasis ward on the top, grabbing half the Queen's Grant. Luckily, Corruptor's trying to focus fire on the carriers. They get one, but the Archons are already underneath him, and this is another beautiful fight from ArT.
This is an absolutely devastating fight because these carriers still have all their interceptors. Look at all of these overlords as well. This is going to be a big supply block. Well, it would have sort of had any units, and now the queens are going to be released immediately into their into the afterlife. And now ArT is just storming forward. He's up in supply. Reinforcements come in, and GG. ArT takes a series 2-0.